My name is Dan Bass. I started flying with my dad. It's been part of my life, my entire life. So it was in February of 2017. I was flying in a Mooney. I ended up taking off and putting my landing gear up. I turned to a heading that they gave me, and when I was handed off to departure, I slurred my radio call to departure. And at this time now, everything started to seem to happen really fast. And I was thinking to myself, something is not right. I had no idea what it was. I had my thumb over the mic button ready to key it to tell Duluth that I had to return. But I was really reluctant because I didn't know what was going on. I lost consciousness 4.5 minutes after departure, and I had the airplane trimmed and the autopilot tracking heading bug. And so when I lost consciousness, the airplane just kept flying up as it was trimmed until they got to an altitude where my mixture and power setting wouldn't allow it to climb any higher. And then it just continued along at that speed. They dispatched F-16s out of Madison, Wisconsin. They did fly with me for a little bit to try to get a look and see what was going on. And then they had to bug out due to fuel and go back to their base. I got to fly formation with F-16s, and unfortunately I didn't get to see it. But I ran out of gas about 11 minutes before the airplane actually impacted. And the very, very next thing I know, I'm waking up. And I was confused, and I started keying the mic to tell ATC that I fell asleep and I was okay, and I just needed to come and land. As I'm doing this, I realized that the window is really clear. I reached forward and realized that it wasn't even there. And then I started to kind of get my surroundings. It started to sink in that I wasn't flying anymore, than I was on the ground. There was a searchlight in a field. That was quite a ways away. It was probably a mile away. So the first thing I did was try to turn lights on, and I couldn't make any of them work. So the next thing I figured is I have to get out of the airplane and try to get to help. And couldn't move my legs at all. And it turned out my feet were wedged under my rudder pedals. Got one free right away, and the other one took a little while. So I just set off across the field towards where I saw that searchlight. After 200 yards, I don't know what it was, I just couldn't go anymore. That was falling, crawling. It wasn't graceful by any means. At that point, I rolled over on my back. I was thinking, I don't care. This is fine. Whatever happens, happens. Meanwhile, there was a helicopter that was looking for me. He had flown over 4 times and didn't see me. And this last time, I was laying in the field. He flew directly over the top and didn't see me. So I kind of gave up on trying to get to help until I realized who I was and what I had. So then I looked around, I saw the woods, and I realized that through the woods on the other side was a light. So I started trudging, crawling, and falling, and doing all that to try to get to this house. It was at night now at this time. It's 9 o'clock at night, and you can see the flickering glow of the blue TV light. It was like a savior. It was wonderful. I ended up breaking a couple vertebrae, lacerated my upper lip, my nose, broke my jaw. The teeth got kind of pushed back on top of my tongue. I had a pretty bad puncture in one of my knees. Looking back on it, it's still really surreal. Carbon monoxide can get into any airplane cabin, and that's what happened on mine. There was a crack in the center of the muffler. Only about half of all carbon monoxide related accidents are from heating systems. So a lot of people think that, why I'm in Florida, I fly in the summer, I don't use my heater, so I don't need a carbon monoxide detector. The problem is when the symptoms start to arise, your cognitive ability is already diminished. So for me, I would say the last 2 minutes of me flying was not useful consciousness. I was awake, I was trying to comprehend what was going on, but I certainly couldn't do anything about it. And the way we were always taught about carbon monoxide, you would start down here with a slight headache, and then your headache would get worse, and then you'd get nauseated. And I felt like it was this linear path that we'd go up, and it turns out it's not. You aren't going to be able to tell on your own. You need a device to do that. Most CO detectors have an audible alarm, but it's in the cabin, and we all have noise canceling headsets, and it's a loud airplane, so it might be difficult to hear. Having a verbal, audible alarm is infinitely better. Having a carbon monoxide detector is very important because over longer periods of time, small levels can build up in your system. If I was wearing this headset, I would have been alerted and landed and scheduled maintenance and postponed the trip, a week or 2. I think that the headset with a carbon monoxide detector will ultimately save lives. What Lightspeed has done with this new headset is a game changer. If you're looking for a new headset, I would encourage you to get this. It could save your life.